Hey everybody, welcome. I'm Matt, Client Success Manager for White House Custom Color, so thank you for joining us today. And I am sitting here with Marggie Duncan from BennyAni Photography. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So this is your first time visiting White House Custom Color.
It is,
Awesome.
Yes.
So you're all smiles. You're excited to be here.
I am.
Not nervous at all.
Not at all.
So tell us, what was your first impression when you pulled up today?
It's much bigger than I thought it was.
Yeah?
And I don't know if I was picturing like a giant warehouse type, but it's fancy.
Yeah.
It's really fancy here.
And I think that your husband's request is worth sharing. So
yes. So every package we get, there's always sucker. And we fight over who gets them sometimes, and he wants me to take a picture today on tour of the giant sucker bowl, because there's got to be one somewhere.
Awesome. We'll make sure and get that for him. So Lucas and I had the opportunity to come down on Monday and tour your new space. So let's start our conversation there, because you have transitioned in your business quite a bit. So why don't you tell us about your history, how long you've been in photography, going from space to space to space, and your growth and all that fun stuff to begin with.
So I started dabbling in '09 when I got my first DSLR camera, but as of June 1st, I'll be in business 7 years. Okay. Before that, I was a labor and delivery nurse, so my love for babies continues. I always say my career and my passion collided, and here I am. Yep. So 7 years in business. 6 years ago in January, I hung up my scrubs for good. Okay. And I started doing everything. And I knew I wanted to specialize, and I finally got to that point. And I started in my basement. Yeah. Tiny little homemade studio in my basement, like a quarter of our basement, and then it expanded to our whole basement. And then my husband said, "You need to get out." So
time to hit the road.
Yeah, time to get out and pay rent. So we went to an 800 and some square foot gorgeous little studio in Burnsville. It was really so pretty. Like, just picture bright white airy. It was very nice. But we grew out of it. The day we moved in, my husband said, "You already grew out of this studio." Great. So we were there for 4 years, and then just recently, February 1st, we started shooting our new studio in downtown Lakeville. Okay.
Awesome. And tell everybody where the name of your studio comes from. I think that's a really cool story.
Yeah, so I have two little ones, Benton, who is 5, almost 6, and Aniston, who is 8, going on 25.
Yes, she is. After meeting her on Monday, she definitely
Oh my gosh, that girl. And so I was the one who said I would never nickname my children, and now I have a business named after their nicknames. So BennyAni, because it flowed better, but if you ask Aniston till this day, it is Annie Benny Photography. And she has told people that who have tried to find my business and couldn't, and I'm like, you can't do that.
You're sabotaging mommy here.
Yes, yes.
So let's just talk about the new space.
Yeah.
So a lot of square footage. What was it, 2,000?
Just over 2,000. Yep.
On a second level above a coffee shop in a cute space in downtown Lakeville.
Yes.
So you have your entryway, nice greeting area. Let's kind of hang a left into that first room and talk about your newborn room, because that's set up wonderfully for what you're doing.
Yeah, so it was really nice to be able to have that space, and we have that little nook in the back corner, because I need to be able to keep it warm, and having an older building in the winter is not easy to keep very warm. Yep. And so back there in that little nook, I could bring everything in closer, my space heaters, things like that. It's a little cramped back there, but it works because it fits my light, it fits my newborn table. And then the space is big enough that we can have all of our outfits and swaddles and backdrops for the newborn table there. And then we fit a couch so moms can feed comfortably. The door shuts so it can be private feeding.
Yep.
So yeah, it's just a really nice space. There's a coloring table for toddlers, but they like to venture out into the main area where we have Disney Plus and Netflix up on the TV too. So yeah, that space works really nicely.
Yeah, so you really thought of everything in that room, and it's so comfortable and private.
Yes,
you
thank
can definitely
you.
see where your clients would enjoy that. So if we're going to bop out and go into your office space, now you have a completely separate space where before you were all kind of in one
all
room.
out in the open. Yep.
So in your office space, you were also doing your sales appointments. So we're going to dig into that a little bit deeper in a few minutes, but talk to us about that process that you go through.
The process of
the sales, like when people come back to view their images.
Sure.
Yep.
They come back, we bring them in the office. I have 2 comfy chairs right in front of my desk, and up on the wall is a larger screen TV.
Yep.
And before they've gotten there, I have created a like a digital birth announcement, if you will.
Okay.
So I take all of the images that we got from that session, their newborn session, I put it to music, all their birth stats on slides. They're gorgeous. Moms always cry, and I say if dads cry, I did a really good job, and it has happened, and grandparents too. And we debut their photos to them that way. The slideshow doesn't always include every single photo because we have black and whites and things like that. So then they get my tablet and they can scroll through their images and take the time to see all their photos before we dive into the products that are available.
Got it. And I do want to remind everybody that's watching live today, if you do have questions for Marggie along the way, she's more than willing to answer those.
Absolutely.
So make sure and put those into the chat and we can field those along the way. I want to remind everybody of that. So if we're going to come out of the sales room, we're going to go into your camera room. This is a major change for you.
Huge.
Yep. So talk to us about some of the fun features, the movable walls. You have that boho, like the bed set up, all those things, the cake smash area. How did you design that with efficiency in mind?
So, we only had the paper rollers as options before.
Okay.
There was not room for furniture. And I love the lifestyle look. So I knew I wanted a bed. I knew I wanted couches. And so we made the specific area for that. And then we also have 2 spaces now for the rollers on each side. So we have all kinds of colors up. And so we designed that to be able to move things easily and still have room and make people comfortable. The efficiency of the interchangeable walls is my engineered husband. He's very creative and very handy. And so he came up with that idea for me, and that has worked very well because we can, simply change a set by changing the wall, and there's a whole new look.
Right.
And that has been awesome, an awesome variety to offer our clients.
Absolutely. And then one of the rooms in the studio, which I would have never thought of, tell us about that room.
Yeah, so we are also home of the Ultimate Cake Smash.
You are.
And we love them. They are so much fun. From set design to seeing the baby taste that cake and the messy toes, all the things. But I never liked to send sticky babies home. So when I started in my basement, I was like, oh, too bad the bathroom's not finished down here so we could wash your baby. And then the next studio, we did have a locker room across the hall, which was nicely done. And so we put a baby tub in there. So we don't like to send home sticky babies. So now we have the Cake Smash cleanup room. And so my assistant will have a bubble bath waiting for them.
Nice.
Even if they do a milk bath add-on to our Cake Smash, which a lot of people do, they still get to go wash off with a normal bubble bath. And we send home a clean, good smelling baby.
That's
and
awesome.
then they like that because they don't have to do it at bedtime. It's all done.
and not all sticky and
not all
uncomfortable
sticky in the
home.
car and car seat and all the things.
Yeah. So when we were at the studio on Monday and talking, you are extremely experience-based. And your customer service is top-notch. Can you kind of break up that roadmap of the client experience for us just a little bit?
Absolutely. So that comes from something I learned in nursing. I had to remind myself, I've delivered probably thousands of babies, but this is their first or second or third, sometimes 6th time, whatever. But this is a huge day in their life
Yeah.
that they don't experience every day like I do. So I needed to make sure I was in that moment with them, even though it was my whatever time. And we have that same model at BennyAni. They come in the door and we want them to have the best experience. There is nothing we don't have that you would need. We try to have everything available. We make everything stress-free. We have everything from dresses for the mom to their toddlers down to their babies. You literally bring us yourself. Everything from combs and rubber bands to bottle warmers and all the things that you could possibly, nail clippers, nail polish remover. I mean, it's not our first rodeo, right? So we have thought of everything, Band-Aid stickers, candy, all the things. But not just that, we show a lot of gratitude because without my clients, I wouldn't have my successful business. My clients mean everything to me. We still do handwritten thank yous for some of our sessions. We want to take that time just to personally thank them. We also follow up with everybody. Correspondence is huge. We don't leave anything sitting in our inbox for very long. There's a lot of competition out there too. And so just the experience of making them know, not just feel, but know that they are very appreciated in our business is huge. And I feel like that's how I grew.
Yeah, definitely. And since it is your passion, I think it's very easy for you to do that. Not that it's not work, but it's just an extension of your own personality, which is awesome.
Thank you.
So talk to us a little bit about the length of time that you allow for your sessions. It's fairly long, if I'm correct.
For a newborn session, it is.
Okay.
Newborns are my boss. So when they come in, whatever they tell me we're doing is what we're doing.
Okay.
All of my newborns do get prep instructions, their parents. So if they follow those, we typically have a pretty smooth session, but not always. Newborns, they can take a while. So we allow for 4 hours. Typically they take 2, 1.5 to 2, sometimes 2.5, depending if they're siblings or, all circumstances are different. But I give, all the things. But I do give 4 hours. And it's nice too because most of the time I need that break in between. I was talking to you about being creative, and it's a workout for the mind. And so if I did back to back to back, I'd lose my creativity and it would just be a blah shoot. you know. So I like to give that time in between my sessions too.
Yeah. So I think that's a good gateway into talking about your staff. Because you have somebody who's actually in the room with us right now that came to hang out today, and you have had a helper, assistant, additional staff for some time. For those of you that are watching along and listening, I think it's really good to know the roles that this person fills. So would you be willing to expand on that a little bit?
Yeah, so my assistant Marggie, which is super confusing, she's new to me. And so when she applied, I'm like, Marggie and Marggie, how are we gonna do this? I really like this girl. I call her Marcus.
Keeps it clear.
I'm not sure she loves that, but whatever. She's a good sport about it. She wears a lot of hats between the correspondence, and then all the back end stuff that goes into a business, keeping up with the website, the algorithms for Google, making phone calls that need to be made, doing the shopping, Costco runs because we buy in bulk. All of those mixed with hands-on at the sessions. So when I'm changing a backdrop color out, so safety comes first in our studio always. So when I'm changing a backdrop color out, we have walkie-talkies on our Apple Watches. I'm like, I'm changing colors. And so I don't have to yell because it's such a big studio now. She'll come in and I'll be able to support the baby while she's changing out the backdrop colors. Could I do it myself? Absolutely. Would it be as safe? Probably not. So that's just extra hands-on. And then she knows when we get to that third color, those are our spotted positions. This being one of them. And then the froggy one. So she stays and then she's hands-on with me for that. And then cake smash sessions, she does all set design. She's very creative and doing that. So she does all the little details. She then cleans up all the cake smash stuff. She's also the one that leads them to the cake smash cleanup room and gets them
with
whatever they need. With the sticky baby. And normally crying by then. They definitely time out.
I can imagine.
And then they're like full of sugar and we're like, see you later. So yeah, Marggie wears a lot of hats.
So with that position and having Marggie there, what has that done to your efficiency? Like what are you able to do because you do have somebody that helps you out with all the things you just listed?
Most importantly, the volume. I'm able to take on more sessions because I have more time because she's helping me so much.
Yep.
To do those things.
And I'm assuming then if you're allowing 4 hours, if it's going to take 2, you've been very specific about needing that time in between, which I completely understand. It gives you the chance to
breathe,
have lunch, get the creativity back.
No, we don't have time for lunch.
Walk carrying food. Yeah, exactly. So I think that is something, if you are considering having a staff, and having that plan and somebody who's able to execute and jump in and help.
Yes,
I think that's
and
very,
someone
very important.
Who's, good with your clients, that's most important. Someone who has a good personality that can show through and represent your business well is super important.
Absolutely, because that message has to be consistent.
Absolutely.
So, yeah. Yep. So before we jump into sales and talking about that, I do want to remind everybody that's watching along, if you would like to like and subscribe to the Whcc YouTube page and channel, you'll get notifications when we're going to do fun live events like this. There's tons of content out there to check out, so make sure and do that. You can certainly follow along on Instagram at Whcc Pro. And again, if you have questions for Marggie along the way, feel free to put those in. And then once we're all wrapped up today, definitely check us out at Whcc.com. You'll be able to find all the details and all the fun products. Everything that Whcc does, it is on the website, so make sure and check that out. So let's talk about your sales and your products and things like that. And I just want to start off with something that when we were walking around the studio, you pointed out to me, and I think it's brilliant. Okay. So we have questions, you have questions, everybody that's watching probably has questions. What makes you different? Like what is the difference in the product, from going from, a professional lab to a Costco, to a Walgreens, to a thing like that?
Oh.
So if you had $1 for those times you've been asked, how would you be pretty wealthy?
Oh, yeah.
So in your studio, you have an example from us.
Yes.
And you have an example that was printed where, and where did the frame come from?
Retail, do you want me to say where?
I think that's okay.
Okay, so it was just a retail Walgreens print,
okay.
Which is quick, easy, fast, which people like, but you'll see what you get.
Yep.
And you get what you pay for.
Yep.
And so it was a quick, easy Walgreens print, and then we just got a simple frame from Hobby Lobby.
Okay, all right. So we're just going to show an example here. So everybody watching along most likely will recognize this as a Whcc product. So this is an 11 by 14. It has a reflection control acrylic on it, or the non-glare acrylic, and then one of our colonial frames. Very professional finish. Color balance, nice warm skin tones, everything looks beautiful on that. So then I'm going to pull up the other one that you have on display here, and I want to make sure that we catch the light right in this. So first of all, you're going to notice that it's wavy. And it's you can see the wrinkles in. And if you're doing a comparison of skin tone, I'm actually going to let you hold that one. We'll see if the camera can pick this up to really look at the difference in how this is printed.
It just brings it to life.
Yep, the skin tones and the warmth and the overall image here, I mean, obviously is beautiful. And if you didn't see them side by side, seeing that one, it still wouldn't look good, but when you really look at them close, there's absolutely no comparison. So this is something I think is brilliant. I'm sure you use it quite a bit.
Every day. And I do want to point out, I swear on my children's lives, I did not do anything different in Photoshop to enhance to make this one better. I really wanted to see the difference myself and be able to show that. This literally is the same print, same settings, same editing.
Okay, so let's get in a little bit deeper into how you're doing and structuring your sales then.
Sure.
Because I think it is also important for, full transparency to let everybody know that you do sell files.
I do.
You do that. And I think that in this day and age, there is definitely a blend that happens there. It happens in your studio. It happens in most successful studios, where they're, just because somebody says that they want a file doesn't necessarily mean that they don't want a print.
Exactly.
So explain to us how you structure your sessions and sales.
Sure. So I found when I first started, some people would be like, okay, I've invested some money here. Now where can I get good quality prints? And I was scared to death to get into print sales. And I said, I heard Costco's great. Like, I had no idea.
Yep.
And so finally, so many people had asked that I looked into it more, and I dove in. And I found over the years in our digital society, the comfort of having digital images is a big comfort blanket. People just want it. I have numerous emails that come in and say, do I get my digital files? If not, I'm not. They don't want to be forced to buy professional printing. They want their digital files. Okay. To hang out in a cloud, to print on their own, sure. To each their own, and I get it. Like, I want the comfort of having my own digital files too. So I found that taking that away, and a lot of photographers may disagree with me on this, but I found that taking the whole stigma of, oh, you have to buy every single digital file, or you have to buy prints through me, taking that away and still giving them what they wanted, like you said, it didn't mean they didn't want professional printing. They just want that comfort. But a lot of my clients still want that professional printing.
Absolutely.
And so you come to me, and it is completely optional to buy professional printing through me. If you do, there's perks, of course, but you are buying your print rights.
Okay. And right now, just so everybody knows too, with your specific business model, Marggie is converting 50% of these sessions into additional print sales.
Yes, everybody loves, when they see the difference, or we have tons of samples, of course, at our studio, and the heirloom albums are huge.
Yes.
Just hands-on seeing those really makes them realize, like, hey, I've spent a lot of money investing in getting these digital files that at least I'll have forever on a cloud that I can do whatever I want with. But gosh, I spent all this money. Why wouldn't I invest in really good professional printing too?
Yep.
And a lot of people come back for that. Not everybody, and that's okay. But I didn't lose that business either.
Right. So I want to point out, and this is an interesting thing as long as we're on this topic here. So you recently have had the opportunity to be on the print receiving end of somebody who gave up the files.
I did.
And I will let you expand for what you want to expand on that, but it has been a good deal for you.
Huge. And any photographer listening right now, don't be scared to dive into prints. I have a client who's a very good client of mine, but I don't do weddings. I just don't. I have my specialty, and I know where I'm good, and I know where I'm not.
Yep.
And so I don't do weddings.
And I think that's brilliant too. And for those of you listening, pay attention to that, because you don't have to do everything.
Don't do everything. Yeah. Again, that goes back to nursing for me. You can be a med-surg nurse and have a good, well-rounded, but when you specialize, you get really good at your specialty. Don't try to do everything. That's just my opinion. So anyways, they hired somebody else for their wedding, which great. It was a beautiful wedding. And that photographer sold them the print rights, which is great. And she included an album, which was beautiful. But that was it. She never asked them if they wanted prints. She never followed up on that. It was nothing. And the client came to me and said, we want like all of this stuff. And it was thousands of dollars in prints.
Yeah, like 5 figures kind of stuff.
A lot of money. Fun for me, a lot of work, because when you're designing somebody's whole house with their gorgeous wedding photos.
Yep.
But it's so worth it. That I don't know who she is, but she lost a lot because she didn't ask.
Yeah, and I think that's what you just said. I hope everybody was listening to that. You have to ask. You have to ask for the sale. It's okay to say, is this okay if we do this, or how about I do this for you, and not be afraid externally. You can be a little nervous internally,
of course.
But to take a step forward, that could be a lucrative thing, a lucrative decision for anybody out there. So let's talk a little bit about how you market and how you become successful. I know that you do some displays, some clinic displays. So would you mind sharing how you have set those up, or where or how that process has worked? And we're actually going to roll a few of your gorgeous images while you're discussing this.
Sure. So that goes back to, if you don't ask, the answer's already no, right? So I reached out to a few privately owned medical facilities, OBGYNs.
Yep.
Hospitals, there's so many rules. So it's a big no.
Yep.
But privately owned clinics, I reached out to a few, and my work now hangs in Northfield Hospital's Lakeville Clinic and their Farmington Clinic.
Okay.
In every room.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
which I need to I need to go update those.
Yeah.
But we still get. I just had a client the other day that everyone fills out a questionnaire before they come, and one of the questions on there is, where did you hear about us? Because we work really hard on our SEO type stuff, and her answer was the Northfield Clinic. So it works. People see, and I just have a little logo, on the corners, so that they can still see the work. And if I wouldn't have asked,
Yeah.
it would have been a no.
The answer is just always no. Yeah. So in your transition from your house to the small studio to here, and I would venture a guess that you'll probably grow out of this studio in a relatively short amount of time too, the way your business is growing. What has been like some of your secrets to success, your mixture? Like, if you want to get in the weeds with me on that, I think that would be kind of cool to hear about.
It all comes back to customer service. If they feel comfortable with you, they feel loyal to you. I have so many clients that I shot in my basement that I'm now shooting in this new studio.
Yeah.
That means the world to me.
Yes.
And I make sure they know that, because I don't take that for granted. There are 1,000 photographers per square block, it seems like. They can go.
That's a lot of photographers.
I mean, we're everywhere. Everyone's a photographer, right? With their iPhones. No, they could go anywhere. And they certainly don't have to continually come back to me every single milestone, every single, So customer service, connecting with your clients is huge. It's a personal experience. It's personal life moments that you're freezing for them. That means a lot.
Yep.
It's not just a photo to them. It's something they're going to look back on, and thank God, it's priceless.
Right. Yeah.
Thank God we have this. You know. So that's the biggest reason I think that I've succeeded. And then correspondence, and just, I've had emails come in that said, and it's a little insulting, but they're like, well, you're the first one who got back to me right away. So I'm coming to you. And it's like, great, but do you like my work?
Yeah.
So, and I'm sure that they do, but it's, people will say, they waited forever, to hear back from whoever it was that they originally wanted to go to, and never heard.
Isn't that surprising?
It's really surprising.
Yeah.
I know a few that are like that, and I'm like, how are you still in business? Your work is gorgeous, but your correspondence is terrible.
Yeah.
I've experienced it with very high-end photographers, because
Yeah.
it's mind-blowing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you want my business or not?
Right, exactly. So let's talk about what's next. I know you've got plans. You're a business lady.
Always.
So talk to us about, what's the future of BennyAni? What is Margie's role going to change into?
Yes.
Where are you going to expand next?
Yeah, so Marggie and I have big dreams. She is actually an aspiring photographer herself, and she has started shooting for me. So all those things I took in the beginning to get me good practice, for the past few years I've just turned away because I don't have the time. But now I can give those to Marggie, and she's loving it.
Awesome.
And she's nailing it. So she's recently she did a unicorn birthday party on Sunday.
Awesome.
Super cute. She did extended family, which made me giggle, because I
know you said you were listening from your office.
I'm listening from my office to all the kids and the chaos of extended family, which is why I stopped doing it, because I felt I lost my creativity. But it is a very good learning experience. So I gave it to Marggie, and she nailed it. But I was giggling like, ha ha, that's not me. So the ultimate goal is to have Marggie as a shooter, and then get a full-time assistant for the both of us, and then keep expanding on that. I would like numerous photographers, and you be able to pick your photographer, but it's all cohesive with the BennyAni brand. So you still know what you're getting. It's not like, oh, I'm going to pay less and get less quality. No, it's the same, but it's very cohesive. And Marggie is going through a lot of training with shooting right now. She's asking questions every day. I'm teaching her every day. And it's a process, but I can guarantee her work will look like my work because I will always have my hands in every photo that's ever given out.
Yes, absolutely. And obviously, everybody who's watching can see the gorgeous images behind us.
Yes.
And for people that want to find you, tell us your website, your Instagram, like where are you at on the web?
Yeah. Well, first of all, I have to point out when I walked in here, I was very excited because this is my goddaughter.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yes, and I think all 4 of them were on a reel that you guys
cool.
showed earlier. So that was super exciting to see Miss Danny on the wall. But yeah, so I'm BennyAni.com, BennyAni.com. People say BennyAni all the time, and that's fine. And then Facebook is just at BennyAni as well. Okay. And then my Instagram is BennyAni_photography.
Okay, awesome. Very cool. And just as a reminder too, for those of you watching along, if you want to get notifications on our future live events, make sure and check us out and subscribe to the Whcc YouTube channel. We're on Instagram at Whcc Pro. If you do have follow-up questions, we do keep an eye on these after they have gone live. And if you do have additional questions, put them into the chat and we will get you an answer back for those as quick as we can. And then definitely check us out at Whcc.com for any questions that you have for products or any of the things that we've discussed today. We're always more than happy to help and here to assist in any way that we can. So thank you so much for being with us. This has been fantastic.
Thank you for having me. It really has been for me too.
Awesome. Your energy and excitement for what you do and for what you bring to your clients and industry is unmatched. So we really appreciate that.
I appreciate that too.
Yes. So thank you for joining us today. We look forward to seeing you back here very soon. Enjoy the rest of your day.